Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. Everyone as in you, because you're the only one
Everyone
here so
that
far.
has responded.
We're back. We're excited to be here, and
My hair's like flopping
I know.
today.
Look, and all I see because of the light, it's a glare, and all I see is this like glare flopping in the
I
wind.
feel like I don't know, like a middle school boy that has long hair right now.
Have you seen those things? The banana.
No, but I know. She's making fun of my own child when he had long hair. It was just like fully.
Oh, and they think it's like a thing.
Yeah. Okay, that is not what we came on here to talk about.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not. We're gonna dive in. We're excited about this year.
Yes.
Both of us. Changes in business, changes in life. I'm excited about it. But
Yeah.
today we're gonna dive in and just get right to the point of setting achievable goals. I am not a resolutions person.
Yeah.
It's not a January 1st thing. This is a new year. Like, let's refocus and reset kind of where I was last year and figure out like what my focus is going to be. How do you handle a new year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a crazy business to where I don't know that it's a new year. Like,
Yeah.
everything just continues on.
Yeah.
But it does feel like the holiday craziness is over, and I feel like everybody can just breathe and reset.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't go into a new year like, oh, it's like a new year, new me, and everything. I do go into a new year with just goals in mind, but not anything that I'm like, if I don't achieve this, then that means that I have failed.
100%.
Thing.
It's more kind of like for example, one of my goals this year is the marathon of my gut health.
Yeah.
And just trying to continue to find the root of where I'm struggling with that and continuing to heal my gut. It's not an overnight thing.
No.
That could take me 5 years, but it's like that'll be one focus. And then, another one of mine is we don't talk about this a lot personally, but like I have a track record of not knowing when I need to say no.
Yeah.
And I get my hands in too much, and I've looked back on 2023 and realized like it's hurt my business in a lot of ways. So like that's,
Yeah, girl.
I gotta learn to say N-O. Like I was on FaceTiming my niece this morning. She said it about 15 times. So I need to be more like Brooklyn.
Yeah. Just say no.
Say no.
It's hard. It's hard
Yes.
because you deal with that, like, not guilt, but you're just like, oh, should I have just said yes to that? Maybe it would have opened this opportunity, whatever. And I think we all get stuck in that. But in all actuality, like, you have to look at your life and be like, I can't take on one more thing. And so I think that's my goal, is to just actually have a day off. Like when I say I'm gonna have a day off. And I kind of put that into practice last year by closing the store one day a week, because it just made me, I'm like, I don't have to be here.
Yeah.
I was always here. So this year I'm like, no, it's like one of my goals is to work from home maybe that day. Like, just we'll see what happens.
Well, but and it's like, another one of ours, I guess, like diving into kind of like more brand type thing is like John and I have decided that 30 minutes before we physically get in the bed, we are off our phones, we're turning the red light on, we're stretching, using, the Theragun, those types of things, but winding down off the screen, maybe having a conversation about our day in a more intimate way than like at the dinner table when we have music playing kind of stuff. So like intentional 30 minutes of self-care before bed. And then, little things like, we realize this is minor, but, everyone just thinks that we eat so wonderfully all the time. Both of us looked at each other, we were like, no more snacking. We are very prone to like walking in, I'm hungry, handful of this, handful of that. So it's like little things like that. But I think the thing for me, the focus is like not these grandiose goals. It's little things that will build on one another.
Yeah.
So consistencies in my week that over the 52 weeks of the year will reap progress for me personally, professionally, physically, mentally, all that.
And I think it's just like when you look at it at such a grand scale, it just seems unattainable.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't just like the blanket of a year, because how much changed in your year last year? Like I felt like every month last year it was new and different, and I was like, oh man, now we're dealing with this, now we're dealing with this. So you have to kind of like have a lot of fluidity with it all, and that's how I go into every kind of new year, is like, hey, what did we do last year personally, professionally, like whatever. And then like, okay, what are our goals this year? But also I'm not holding myself to that. And then there's actionable things that I can put into practice, rather than just looking at it like, oh, well, I didn't do that already, so might as well give up. Like, I feel like that's how a lot of people go into, obviously, like, working out. People are like, if they're like, I'm going to work out every day in January, and then you missed a day, you don't just give up. You just, like, jump back on tomorrow, and that's fine. You know, this is the time where we see in Paris Laundry that we get a lot of appointments for makeup consultations, skincare consultations, because everyone wants to switch to clean products. Which just like fills my heart with joy. But also at the same time, like I go into it with a very realistic standpoint where I'm like, we're not gonna switch all of your products in one day. We could, and that would be great, but are you gonna stick with it? No, like let's choose some things that you use every day and let's switch those. And then let's come back.
Yeah.
And reassess.
I mean, it's just like with food. It's like, don't all of a sudden like have been indulging, and it's like, okay, so for the month of January, I'm not going to eat no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, no alcohol, no, and I'm like,
you're
going to shock your system.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Right. So that's the main thing, is like, give yourself grace, I guess is what we're trying to say. And it's like, the thing is I feel like with the way that resolutions are, you know, New Year goals happen, like the world around us tells us that we have to change in these big ways, when in reality that only makes our mental health worse. It can result in physical, like negative physical health, because the mental affects the physical. It's just a snowball effect, and it's just like, give yourself grace.
I don't think that it starts in January either. Like a lot of people, like coming off of the holidays and everything, I'm just like not in a place right now where I can even think about like what 2024 is going to look like. Like I just put Christmas stuff away. I just took Christmas stuff out of the store yesterday. So I'm just kind of like, I haven't even sat down and really tackled like, okay, what are we doing this year? So I don't feel like it has to be like this January thing. You just need to start off like on a blank slate and go from there. It's kind of like, I feel like you can jump into whatever your goals are at any point.
100%. Do one a month. Set one small goal a month.
Yeah, I feel like it's that way. I mean, if you were to do that, that's 12 goals.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's still a lot.
Like, I even think that if it's like you say you're going to switch one product, that's 12 products that you're going to switch out. Like, I still think that's a lot. And so, I don't know. For me, I go into it like that. I feel like anytime you tell yourself that you have to do something, and you don't, then you feel guilty, you feel down, and then you talk yourself out of doing it again.
And then again, it's a snowball. But I think, to me, like a new year is more than actionable items. It's more of a mental reset. If it's like, okay, what does the last year look like? But like, I didn't let it get me down.
Yeah.
I use it as motivation, but not like gung-ho. You know, everyone's like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z the next 30 days. What are you going to do the other 11 months of the year?
Yeah.
Like,
I think
start small.
Always my go. It's just control what you can control.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, things that are outside of our control can affect like our goals and whatnot. So it's like, give yourself a lot of grace and find things that you also like, things you enjoy. Like, that's the other thing. Like, if you tell me that I have to run every day in January, because that, like, it's not gonna, I'm not running every day. Like, I have to do things that I find joy in. So it's like, find joy in your goals, and if you make a resolution, like, that's good too. But like, make sure it's something that you actually want.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to stick with it because you don't have. And also, don't look at, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but like, don't look at inspiration that's like not yours. I feel like what motivates me is looking at things that have to do with myself. So it's like, if it's like Paris Laundry branding, I'm like, okay, we're gonna rebrand some products this year because we just learned from last year.
Right.
I can't look at other people's branding and be like, that's what I want. That's not gonna motivate me. It's actually gonna like deter me from getting it done. If I look at my branding and say, this is what I wanna change. So when it comes to fitness, instead of looking on Instagram to figure out like what you wanna do, look at pictures of yourself. That's what's going to create actionable change for you. Is like, hey, I really just don't love that. Like, okay, well then what are you going to do to change that? Like, only you can recognize those things and do that. I find that like people just get really down when they're looking at other people as the inspiration instead of looking at themselves as their inspiration.
Well, and not like, to put it blunt, stay in your own lane. That's the way I like to think about it. Is like, I have found more motivation by blocking out the noise and all the people around me telling me. I do appreciate insight, opinions at times, but by blocking out the pressure of the things around me and what everyone's telling me I need to do, see, change, grow, blah, 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 I have never been more mentally clear, motivated, and like calm at the same time. Like, ask my husband, I used to be like 160 mile per hour busy bee all the time, thinking of all the things that I have to do this, have to do that. I'm like cool as a cucumber. Not all the time, but compared to the old me, I'm cool as a cucumber. But anyways, those are our thoughts on starting a new year. And we're here to answer questions, to help in any way that we can.
Whether it's like you're wanting some food, switch to like, I feel like it's
what are you laughing at, John?
What's so funny?
What's so
John?
funny?
I feel like it's like introducing one new recipe a week to your family. Like something that's super healthy. Maybe you've never tried it before. Get everybody's opinions. Like, do that. You know, that can be really great. If you're coming into Paris Laundry, you want to switch to makeup or skincare or whatever. Like, let's go into it thinking like one product that you really want to change, or a couple products that you really, but it doesn't have to be this like overhaul.
But let us know how we can help. That's why we exist. And
we're here.
We want to be resources for good. So, on that note, we're checking out until next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.